What's up, everybody? Michigan Edge here. Got a blade to check out here. This is one I ordered in a while ago. Been carrying it off and on. We have a zero tolerance 0566 here. This is a Rick Hinder design spring assisted flipper. I'm going to go over some specs here real quick for those of you that are interested. Made in USA, as of all zero tolerance knives. As all of you, most of you know, Zero Tolerance and Kershaw are the same company. Zero Tolerance just being kind of their higher end line. This is a frame lock. The blade is 3.25 inches. It has S35 VN steel. Very nice stonewash finish to it. Overall length on this is 7.7 inches with a weight of 5.4 ounces. Now, as most of you know that watch my videos, as of most reviews, they're kind of opinionated. So, these are my opinions, so take it with a grain of salt. I'm going to go over some pros and cons on this knife that I came up with as I carried this for a few weeks now, off and on. Okay, pros. The steel, S35 VN is very good steel, very comparable to S30V. With my experience with it and the few knives I own in the steel, it seems like it actually sharpens a little easier to me than S30V. Not by much, and it seems like it has pretty much the same edge retention to it. Okay, another pro to this knife is it's solid, but not too bulky. It's pretty thin. It's a pretty slim knife, but it's nice and solid at 5.4 ounces. Fit and finish. As you would expect with a zero tolerance knife, the fit and finish is excellent. Let's go ahead and close this blade. I mean, blade centering is perfect. Absolutely no blade play at all. Lockup is perfect on it. Plenty of room for the lock to wear in. It's a very strong frame lock, so fit and finish is very good on this knife. Another pro to this knife is it actually has a functionable detent on this. So if you would like to de-assist this knife, you have that option, which is very nice. Another pro is we have a 4-way pocket clip on this, so you can put the clip on either side, tip up or tip down. That's an added bonus. So that's kind of the pros in a nutshell. Now let's go over the cons, and the cons, in my opinion, are kind of a disappointment, especially in a knife in this price range here, which is kind of the entry-level price range, for a zero tolerance knife. The first con that I have is the thumb studs. On this knife here, the thumb studs act as the blade stop, okay? And there's no way to actually deploy this knife without putting ridiculous amount of pressure into it to open it. I can't even do it, without really hurting my finger. So the thumb studs only serve as a blade stop. And in my opinion, that's kind of a con because there's a lot of other knives that are designed both ways, where you can have a lot of the onion design knives. They use the thumb studs serve as a dual purpose. So in my opinion, that's kind of a con. Something to keep in mind on purchasing this. Okay, second con, and it's kind of a big con, in my opinion, is the frame lock. There's no room. Not enough room, in my opinion. If you look here close, I'll try to hold this here level. There's not a lot of room for me to get my thumb in here to disengage this lock. It's very uncomfortable. And if you look closely here, they rounded the lock off, rounded it off that way to make it even harder and less material for you to get your thumb in there. It's a very uncomfortable knife. I got to really push in here hard to get this lock to disengage. They could have remedied that by, just removing a little more material, spending a couple extra minutes with this knife in the overall fit and finish department. And then, in my opinion, the serrations here do nothing, and by rounding that lock off like that just makes it harder to release. So that's a big con, in my opinion. Okay, number 3, the third con I have with this knife is the flipper kind of sucks, okay? Keep in mind we can't use the thumb studs for deployment. It's just a blade stop. The flipper, if you look very closely here, is very sharp, and it requires quite a bit of force on your finger to push this in and deploy the knife. So not a very well designed flipper in my opinion. If you look here at my finger too, you can see a nice indent on my finger from pushing on that. Not a very comfortable flipper. That's a big con in my opinion. And in a few minutes here I'll show you guys some other knives that are well designed in my opinion. You can kind of see the difference. Okay, number 5. Let's open this back up here. We have jimping here, here, and here. This jimping, in my opinion, just sucks. It doesn't function as jimping, and it just adds or aids in discomfort. If you use this knife and open a box once in a while, it's not a big deal. But if you actually bear down and use this knife, it would be a great knife to use, but this jimping here, especially right back here, just adds discomfort. Now it's enough to where when you're using this knife, it'll just rub your hand kind of raw, and that's a big con in my opinion. I think they put that there for show, and it just doesn't function good. Okay, and lastly, another con is the price on this. This is an entry-level zero tolerance knife. You can find these on Amazon currently right now. I just looked for $144. So that's an entry-level zero tolerance knife. And in my opinion, that's still pretty, it's still quite a bit expensive. I don't mind paying that $144. But all these little issues with this knife here, overall, it's just not a knife for me. I don't really care for the knife. And it's one of the ones that I should have actually handled before I purchased instead of actually, purchasing this online. But those are my opinions. And now let's go over the in-betweens. I have a couple in-betweens. In-betweens are something that can be pros and cons depending on who's looking at it. The deep carry pocket clip, I personally don't care for them. With this model here, I mean, you have a G10 here you can grab on to pull it out of your pocket. There's not a whole lot of traction on that G10 though. So that's kind of a con. I like the Hinder clips are okay, but I don't really care for a deep carry clip. And I knew that when I bought this, so I can't really knock that. Okay, and the weight versus size. This knife isn't really a very big knife. It's big enough to fit your hand, but it's a pretty heavy knife for the size, which I'm okay with. I like a nice stout knife, but that's something to keep in mind if you want to purchase this knife. Now, another pro I want to add here is the Made in USA and the warranty you get from Zero Tolerance. I'm sure if I got in touch with Zero Tolerance, they'd probably look over this knife and kind of correct the issues I have with it. I hear very highly of them. I never had to use their customer service. But from what I hear, their customer service is top-notch. So that's another pro to add to the mix. I mean, you're paying some money for a knife like this, but you're getting an excellent customer service. So remember to keep that in mind. Overall, guys, this is my opinion. Not yours. This is just my opinion. On a 5-star scale, I'd give this knife 3 stars out of 5, just because of the cons that I mentioned. But there you go, guys. That's the Zero Tolerance Rick Hinder Design 0566. Thanks for stopping by. Michigan Edge out.